Hi guys, it is Tamara. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about what's known as the defense cascade. And really what it is it's the fight or flight response. So this is going to be a short video just to give you guys the knowledge of what this is. So let's go ahead and jump in. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For all of you who are subscribed and participating, thank you. And for those who are new, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button so you can stick around with us and be a part of our growing and our validating community. And in case you don't know who I am, let me introduce myself. My name is Tamara, and I'm an internationally and board certified trauma therapist, but I'm also licensed in mental health, and I specialize in treating children, families, and teenagers as well as adults. Let's jump in. So the defense cascade is basically the idea that, your system and your body kind of goes into what I always mention on this channel, guys, which is central nervous system dominance. That's basically when you start to go into fight or flight response. But defense cascade is basically a response to a traumatic situation. And there's a series of steps that your body goes through when you've encountered a traumatic situation. If you have a traumatic childhood and you have memories of that, you're going to get triggered. And you're going to go through a series of steps. There was a study done by an individual known as Kasia, hopefully I'm saying her name correctly, Kasia Kawaska. And she's from the Children's Hospital in Virginia. And her study was basically published to the magazine Scientific American in 2015. And she highlighted a series of things the body goes through in order to discuss and explain the fight or flight response. So I'm going to highlight some of those things because I think it's important for you guys to know what this is. Now, when you come up against a traumatic situation or some kind of situation that your brain perceives as fear, your body not only responds to that fear, but so does your brain. And your brain is basically saying, red light, this is dangerous. Even if there isn't, obvious danger, it's still saying, red light, stop. There's danger over there. Don't go any further. Some people also run away, and that's the flight part of the system, right? They don't want to deal with it, so they avoid it. But the brain goes through a series of things as well as the body. Now, neurologically, the amygdala responds. The amygdala is kind of like a sensor. And the amygdala kind of senses the environment all around to see what it is that it needs to be defensive against. Once it settles on something that's frightening or dangerous, then it begins to react. And it reacts by releasing chemicals. It reacts by shutting off and turning on certain parts of the brain. And it reacts by kick-starting the fight or flight system. Okay, and the amygdala, I'll put a picture over here for you so you can see what it is. The amygdala is an almond-shaped size. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you what an almond size looks like, because I actually happen to have this is my attempt to be scientific, guys. I actually have my trail mix here. So here's the amygdala. This is so cool, and I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to show you. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know. Hopefully. But this is an almond. And this is the size of the amygdala, interestingly, And so that part of the brain is a little small size, but it has a major impact. It's so powerful. And the job of the amygdala is to protect you. It has no logical ability to process, to think, to rationalize, to weigh the pros and cons of, to weigh the situation. It just reacts. It's very primitive in that way. So when the amygdala reacts, the fight or flight system gets kicked on. And once the fight or flight system gets kicked on, that's when your body starts to react. Okay? Now, your body begins to react in a series of ways. Now, you have a brain and a spinal cord, and I talk a lot about that up here in this video, and I'll post some more videos as we go along where I kind of explain this to you in detail. But we have a brain and a spinal cord. The brain and the spinal cord goes down the bony structure of the back, which is the vertebrae. The brainstem and the brain is known as the central nervous system. Okay, central nervous system. Aside from that is another system known as the autonomic nervous system. Those two systems control our stress response, but it gets even deeper. Okay, we have the gas pedal and the brake pedal. Gas pedal is the sympathetic nervous system, and the brake pedal is the parasympathetic nervous system. When these two systems or pedals are activated by the amygdala, activated by the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system, we go into fight or flight response, okay? And that's what's known as the defense cascade. here's what Keisha, if I'm saying her name correctly, says, okay? The first step, there are 5 steps. The first step when your body goes into fight or flight is arousal. You get aroused by something that the amygdala perceives as danger, okay? And it's getting ready to respond. And that response may be severe or it may not be. It just depends, right? So it depends on what it is that your brain is sensing, right? Remember, the amygdala kind of senses its environment for something that's dangerous, for something that is similar to the trauma that you experienced, right? So you got to be careful there. When you start feeling your heart rate go up and you start feeling yourself shake, know that your amygdala is really responding to something. Doesn't mean you have to fear, but it's really trying to warn you of something. So the first step is arousal, okay? The next step that she highlights is the fight or flight, and that's when the central nervous system kicks into gear and it says, uh-oh, this is true danger. We need to run or we need to stay and really try to cope with this, you know? For the most part, you're probably going to try to escape. And that's normal, right? We all do. We escape, you know, from relationships that are unhealthy for us. We escape from bosses and managers who bully us. We escape from dangerous environments so we can live in peace, right? So that's totally fine. That's stage number 2. Now, stage number 3 is known as the freezing stage. And you're almost like a deer caught in headlights at this point. You know, you don't know how to quite respond, but you know that something's here and you need to be cautious. Okay, so that's the freeze mode. Now, the second thing that I want you to think about as far as this freeze mode is that in this mode, your heart rate goes up, you start to shake, you're nervous, you have outbreaks of sweating, you may feel like you're panicking on the inside, you're losing all self-control in this mode. Okay, the next, which is the 4th step, is known as tonic immobility. Tonic immobility. All right, and I talk about this in this video right up here, so you can go ahead and check that out. But basically, tonic immobility is that you are stuck in the moment, right? You don't know how to move outside of it because you're so afraid. You're like stuck. You're almost frozen. You know, you're almost like a deer caught in headlights. The 5th and the final stage is known as almost like a resting period, and you are no longer in that tonic immobility. You are no longer in that freezing mode or that fight or flight mode. You're now relaxing, and that's the brake pedal. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. Our bodies, when we are exposed to trauma, goes through this process one step at a time. What helps to maintain that process, even when there's no danger in the environment, is repeated trauma, repeated stress, repeated agitation. That makes things 10 times worse. So I want you to keep that in mind about yourself. If you are repeatedly having panic attacks, if you're repeatedly having flashbacks, if you're repeatedly struggling from PTSD, it's because your body has learned to respond to anything in the environment. They may mimic the trauma and the stress that you've been through in the past. The brain is almost like a memory foam. You know, something makes an imprint on it and your body's going to respond unless you find the right tools to help you heal. And I do talk about some of that on this channel, so I encourage you to search it and see what you can find. Thank you so much for being with me today, guys, in this video. I encourage you to give it a thumbs up and go ahead and hit that bell button and subscribe button so you can stick around with us and get all the videos that I'm going to be posting this month, next month, and for the rest of the year. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.